Well, hello again, all my fluid art friends. It's Doris at DF Designs. I have got so many pieces that need flood coats. I'm going to do a short tutorial on how I do flood coats. Okay, I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm not saying it's the wrong way. It's just the way I do them. Okay, first off, I won't be resining right here. You don't want to resin where you're standing at. Okay, but I am limited on space in my apartment, so I'm sanding right here. I'll clean it all up with alcohol, and then I will put a tray down and mix my resin and flood coat it. Okay, I usually start, is this it? Yeah, okay. This is my 220 sandpaper that I like to use, because I do have a couple of little bumps or whatever right there. So what I do is I lightly go over them, or go over the whole piece really, because you want it to have tooth over the whole thing if you're going to do a flood coat, because the resin needs something to kind of grab onto. I know some people say that they don't do that, but hey, that's just the way I've learned how to do it. So I always sand in between layers. In this case, the design is the bottom layer and then a clear coat to hide all the little bumps. Okay, that one is sanded. I'm trying to open my alcohol bottle. I just squirt a little bit of alcohol on it. I have a soft rag. It's an old t-shirt I cut up. And I just clean off all the dust. And to give it a smoother finish, I do the same thing again. Open. Upside down. I use 400 grit sandpaper. Now the reason I got it cut this way, it's a half a sheet. And this way, it's no bigger than my fingers, because you don't want to put heavy pressure, but you want to put light, even pressure. But this way, if I had folded it into fours, the stuff inside would like be rubbing against each other and you'd lose all that grit. And I know I've seen some people do that where when they fold it in half into fours, they put a piece of washcloth in here. I never seem to have one handy, so it's just easier for me to do this. And I don't know if you can see me or not, but I always kind of go over, look at it from the side, you know, maybe bring it up and tilt it and make sure that I have sanded down any big bumps. There's one right there that could use a little bit more sanding. I'm just holding it up to the light so I can see it. Okay. So that's what I do for sandpapering it. I use 220 grit, sand it down lightly, clean it off with alcohol. Then I do 400 grit to get it a little bit smoother, and then I clean it off with alcohol again. So I will be right back after I clean off the dust off of this table and get my tray. So hang on, I will be right back. Okay, and I'm back. I have put my tray down, cleaned off all the dust too, of course. I have mixed up 8 ounces of art coat, which is a 1-to-1 ratio. It is UV protectant, and it's also you can use it on. It's really good to use on coasters because it also has heat resistance. I do need to get a couple of little things to put underneath those canvases because I want to keep them up in the air. These are some Shelly art pours that I did. She's got a paid course. Look her up on Instagram. No, that's not going to work. I need, you know what? I'm just going to have to use cups because I don't have enough of those left. I bet they're all in the bedroom is where they're at. That's okay. Oh, I forgot I had these cups up here. Sorry about this. I should have been a little bit more prepared. But I got a long working time with the art coat, and this isn't going to take that long to do it. Okay. Okay, basically, all you have to do is just pour a puddle in the middle. I probably got too much made. I got a couple more pieces I can flood coat after this. A little bit more on there. You might see bubbles. I doubt you see the bubbles because they're so minuscule. But the thing is with the bubbles, the heat gun will take care of it. Okay, have another alcohol rag handy so you can clean your fingers off because they're going to get sticky, because I always just move it with my hand, okay? I don't worry about, you know, spatulas or sticks or whatever. I move it with my hand. That way I can also feel if it's a dry spot without having to really see it. You just want to get a nice even coat on it. Not too thin because the resin might pull away from the edge and you don't want it too thin. And then go around your sides, because this is the point where you're going to be able to cover your sides with everything to give it a nice shiny gloss on the side, make it look professional. Okay, I should torch that one, but I already got my fingers sticky, so let me smooth out this stuff before I clean off my gloves. Now, because this is a gallery wrap canvas, you've got to push a little bit more over the side. I do have the back of this taped off, so that way any drips that I get underneath there, I won't have a problem removing them. I have found Artists Till Death, they show how they lay it down flat, okay, on a piece of paper, you know, wax paper, parchment paper, in their dust-free zone. But the thing is I don't like doing that because it's easier for me to get the drips off the bottom when it's elevated than it is for me to get the stuff that might ooze out. So I prefer to keep my pieces elevated when they're drying. It's just my preference. It's not the right way or the wrong way. It's just the way I prefer how to do it. Okay, got my alcohol rag to clean off my gloves. And a lesson that was learned in a video I did the other day where I crashed an arty party was, get your alcohol rag way over to the side. And now I'm going to pop the air bubbles. You don't want to stay still for too long in one spot. Now these are canvases and they had acrylic on them. It looks like they're trying to pool a little bit in the middle. So I'm just going to try to push some more of it over to the edges. So it doesn't pull away from the edge. If it does pull away from the edge, you can always sand it and do another flood coat after this one. I know it seems like a waste of the resin, but if you've got any dry spots, you're going to want to do that. Okay, last thing I do before I put them to bed is I've got this little LED light that I picked up at the hardware store, okay? And I'm not going to turn it on for you to see, to blind you, but it's really, really bright. And when you go over your piece like this, you can see if you've got any more bubbles, any hairs, any dust boogers. You never know what might be floating around in the air that gets into your resin. And of course, any dry spots you might have. So this is why it's good to have a little bit of extra resin. So that way I can just dunk my finger in there and put a little bit of resin. Resin is self-leveling, so don't worry about that. Okay, now these are going to need a little bit more babying because they're trying to pull towards the middle. So I'm basically trying to get the stuff that's in the middle back out to the sides. Not sure if this is the way you're supposed to do it, but it's the way I do it, you know. It works. So basically, you've checked for dust bubbles, dust boogers, bubbles. Check for dry spots. I probably am going to have to end up doing these one more time. I'm going to have to torch it one more time. Let me turn my light out. You'll notice I got my alcohol rag. I got it over here. Okay, my torch is over here. I'm going to do this one more time. Yes, I moved my alcohol rag out of the way. I see a little dust booger. Tweezers. Always have a pair of tweezers handy. I like using these bent tweezers because it seems to be easier to pick stuff up out of the resin with. Okay, where'd you go? I know I saw you. Ollie, ollie, outs and free. Oh, of course, now I can't see it. Maybe it was a bubble and I popped it. Aha, there's one. Aha, there it is. I knew I'd seen one. All I'm doing here is I'm just knocking a little bit of the resin towards the edge so I get that domed look. Aha, there's one. I mean, these are so tiny, it's hard to see them, but I'm a perfectionist when it comes to the finish to my pieces. Okay, let me see what's going on over here. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit more resin on that, but you guys get the idea now. This is how I do my pieces, how I clear coat them. I'm just adding more resin so I can get this, because it is pulling away a little bit as it pulls towards the middle. And this way I can get some of it to go over the side too, where it needs to be. So I hope that you learned something from my video. Remember, this is the way I do it. It's not the way the general, you know, it's not written in stone to do it this way. This is just the way I prefer to do it. Yes, I'm wasting a little bit of resin, but I'd rather have my sides covered than have resin, you know, left over. When you're doing your sides, it is kind of hard because it's like running down the side, and it'll just keep running and keep running. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of like just pushing it down. Okay, so if you have any questions about my technique, leave them down in the comments. I do read comments a couple times a day and answer everybody. You know, if you're just telling me, giving me compliments, I'll say thank you back, but I'll answer any questions you have if you have questions, okay? So I hope you enjoyed this video, learned something. Please click like and subscribe. Hit the little bell for the notification so you'll be notified when I have another upcoming video. And I love the resin right out of you guys, so bye for now.